Sorry for the long wait. Well, you read the title of the video. Today in this video, I'm looking into one of the best fighting game series of all time in Tekken, and I'm ranking all the Tekken games as of release till 2024. There have been 8 main game titles, 2 tag tournaments and several crossover and spin-off games. But I'm only gonna focus on the main entries and tag tournaments and also wait at the end for the tier rankings of each of the games. With all that in mind, let's get into it.
Enter the Tekken.
Starting off the list, at the last page is the original first Tekken that released back in 1994. There are 8 playable characters in the original arcade version, and later when the game was ported to PlayStation, you can unlock up to 8 characters by defeating arcade mode with different players. So there was total of 18 playable characters. The main 8 playable characters are Kazuya Mishima, Zack, King, Law, Nina Michelle, Paul Phoenix and Yoshimitsu, from which Kazuya was the main character of the first game. The story of Tekken is pretty fucking weird, crazy and wild with Mishima family at the center of it. I can't do it justice in one video, so I'm not gonna focus on the story in this video, rather only the gameplay, to which I think the first Tekken is pretty outdated and the least playable game of the series today. Even if you consider its legacy, it can't get any higher for me in terms of quality, and that's why it's last on the list.
Enter the Tekken.
Next on the list at number 9 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2. As its predecessor, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 improved on its gameplay and used the new technology to its advantage. Still looks fucking awesome and plays really well too, and to boot it has one of the biggest library of characters to choose from. Over 59 characters are playable in the game. The combat is complex yet easy to understand with a lot of emphasis on tag team moveset. I especially like the tag aspect of it and how fast you can switch between partners during the fight. It didn't do well when it was released, but it has received critical acclaim from fans and critics alike. All in all, for me, it's one of my favorite games from the series and definitely one of the best too.
You win. The King of Iron Fist Tournament.
Following a legendary game like Tekken 3 was always gonna be hard, and then exploring some new ideas and innovations, of course some people are not gonna like it, which is exactly what happened to Tekken 4 when it was released back in 2001. Many people loved the new ideas and mechanics and some was displeased with it, but in later years we have all come to realize how good of a game this really is. It introduced arena damage and open field combat environment during the fights. There are 23 characters to choose from and 6 new ones, from which Christy Montero being a standout. There are also several modes to choose from, like the original arcade mode, time attack mode, story mode, team battle mode and returning Tekken Force mode from Tekken 3. We also have practice mode and the good old reliable survival mode. Tekken 4, now looking back, is one of the most important games of the series for what it was able to achieve with its ideas and for what it did for upcoming games in the series, especially the next one.
Fight. The King of Iron Fist Tournament.
Next on the list is Tekken 6. Although 9 year 24, it feels like Tekken 6 is a middle point for the series, but when it was released in 2007, it was one of the best fighting games of that time. You can say it feels like a first modern Tekken game in terms of jump in upgrades through graphical quality and smoothness of fighting gameplay. There are total 39 characters to choose from in Tekken 6, from which 34 returning characters and 6 new ones, from which the new main ones are Lars Alexanderson, Alicia Bosconvich and one hell of a hard boss in Azazel. Although its story campaign was not well received, everything else was phenomenal. Its different game modes were also fun to explore and online community ate it up with its awesome online mode. Like I said before, it was a big and improved jump in graphics and combat mechanics, and it will be remembered as the starting point for all that in Tekken series.
KO. You win. Enter the Tekken.
Now at number 6, we have to look back at one of the classics of the fighting game genre in Tekken 2. At this point in time, Tekken was still evolving as well as the fighting games in general and trying out new ideas to boot. There are total 25 playable characters, 17 returning characters from Tekken 1 and 8 new additions. Kazuya serves as the main final boss of the Tekken 2 and he feels like an overpowered boss too. This game revolutionized the 3D fighting game industry with its fluid character movement and complex system of moves and combos. Fair to say it's not so good looking to play this game nowadays, but it introduced a lot to the series, which includes various modes, became synonymous with each entry, like time attack and team battle mode, practice mode and much beloved survival mode. Tekken 2 is one of the most memorable game in the series, but sadly it's only number 6 on my list. Next on the list at number 5 is Tekken 7. It was hard choosing between Tekken 2 and Tekken 7, but it made my top 5 Tekken games, and for a very good reason too. Released back in 2017, Tekken 7 was a huge success both commercially and critically. It introduced new game mechanics like Rage Art, similar to several games like Injustice and Mortal Kombat, where in Rage mode a cinematic sequence happens and a character can deal damage up to 30% damage depending on the selected character. Other new features include Power Crush, where you can absorb attacks while continue to attack during the fight, and Screw Hits, which lets you deal a long range high damage combos. It also looks fucking amazing and have a huge library of characters to choose from, 58 to be exact. Overall, you are guaranteed to have fun playing this one.
Enter the Tekken.
The original tag tournament is next on the list at number 4. Following a huge game, Tekken Tag Tournament introduced the tag aspects from wrestling to the Tekken fighting game style, and it paid off hugely. Tag tournaments are now a fun staple of the series. In tag tournaments, you can fight 2v2 battle and can swap players at any point during the round. Tag can be implemented in different ways, like a normal one, special combos, or in between combo moves. The game has a library of 35 playable characters to choose from, and there is also a boss character named Unknown who is similar to Mokujin from Tekken 3. It's a fun and iconic game and has an awesome bowling mini game to add to it.
The King of Iron Fist Tournament.
The most recent game is at number 3 on the list. Tekken 8 released in January 2024, and to a big critical praise. Critics have praised its progression system and well-refined aggressive gameplay. As of now, Tekken has become one of the staple series of fighting game genre, and Tekken 8 is performing like that too. And for story, as always, Tekken 8 story is bonkers, which I'll discuss in future videos for sure. As for the game, you have over 35 playable characters, which I'm sure will increase with each season. It's the one thing I don't like in modern gaming. I get the surprise factor, but if I'm buying a game, I want to play all the game characters at once. Let's focus on the game. It looks awesome and runs amazing as expected of Unreal Engine. The online community is gonna enjoy this one for a lot of years, and overall it's one of the most well-refined fighting game of the recent years.
Strongest in the universe! I'm in top condition! Enter the Tekken. Chicken.
Whoa, now we are at the top 2, and Tekken 3, although I must say I love it more than number 1 entry, is currently at number 2 on my list. Tekken 3 released back in 1997 and is widely regarded as one of the best fighting games of all time. There are 21 characters to choose from, and I'm gonna say characters in this game were the first time I can say properly stuck with the fans. Each character gets their time to shine and have a personality which made it popular among the fans. There are several modes to choose from, like the returning team battle mode, time attack mode, practice and survival mode. And it also introduced a new mode called Tekken Force mode, in which you fight enemies in a side-scrolling fashion. You can also unlock a mini game called Tekken Ball mode. It plays more like a beach volleyball with fighting moves. Although it's pretty old, 27 years to be precise, in 2024, it still feels awesome to play. This game has aged pretty well. The art style and character designs are standouts, and it definitely deserves the title of one of the best fighting games of all time.
Wins. The King of Iron Fist Tournament. Enter the Tekken.
Well, you have figured it by now. Tekken 5 is at number 1, which I don't think is a surprise for anyone familiar with the series. It released back in 2005 to a positive response from the fans. Mostly loved the game, and part of the reason was definitely the mixed reaction to Tekken 4. And Tekken 5 improved and resolved all the problems from the previous game. It still looks pretty good and has the same juggling concept from Tekken 4, but with much more complex dynamic. There are 32 playable characters to choose from, with Jinpachi Mishima as the final boss, which was a pretty hard final boss at the time. It also received an update called Dark Resurrection, which fixed the problems and made the game much more fair to each player. Two things Tekken 5 does better for me more than the other Tekken games. First is the gameplay and the music, which I absolutely love, and also in home versions of the game you can play all the games from original trilogy, Tekken 1, 2 and 3, and also Star Blade, which is a big plus, and that's why Tekken 5 is number 1 on my list.
You win. Unso Shiro. Round 1. Fight.
If you haven't stopped the video yet, here's my tier ranking of each game in terms of enjoyability, which is gonna be different from the rankings. As you can see, games in D tier is I'm not ranking / ignoring. Tekken 1 is just alright and is at number C. Tekken 2 is great, but it can't be higher than B for me. Tekken 4 is underrated, so high B. 4 tag tournaments are great, so A tier. With the second one being my most favorite, so it's ahead. Tekken 6 was great, but now in 2024 it is high B for me. Tekken 7 is at A and Tekken 8 could very well be S, but for now it's high A. You can say A+. Tekken 5 and Dark Resurrection all S tier, with Tekken 3 being my most favorite. I love Tekken 3. Now tell me your favorite Tekken game from the series, who's your main player in the games. Mine are Brian Fury and Eddie Gordo. That's the video, thanks for watching, like, subscribe and comment for future content.
Muszę wygrać w imię wszystkich Polaków!